Thanks for joining us for a very special edition of Gov 101. You know, the concept behind Gov 101 is to highlight some county services that lets you, the citizen, know more about how your county government serves you. We're out in beautiful Shannon, Georgia today, one of the historic mill villages in Floyd County. And the county is reaching out to Shannon through our Community Focus program. We partner with the Keep Rome Floyd Beautiful organization to come out to a community, and we did this in Lindale last year, and showcase some county services, get to know the residents, and learn more about what's going on in that mill village. And this time, what we'd like to do with this Gov 101 show is talk to some of the folks with the Waters District Council for Historical Preservation and learn more about the rich history that's out here in Shannon. I think you'll be absolutely amazed at what's happened here in the past. And Mary Hardin Thornton's going to interview some of the folks here. I'm going to talk to a couple. Sit back and listen and learn a lot about what's going on right in your backyard.
Okay, hi, we're in front of this beautiful wall of history here in the Shannon Scout Cabin, and I'm here with Elaine. This is Elaine Robbins, a longtime resident of the Shannon Community, and Jennifer Kearns. And Jennifer's been here. How long have you been in Shannon?
14 years.
14 years. So some people think it's long, some people think it's short. I think it's just right to know and to care about the history of this community. Now, tell us a little bit, Elaine, about this wall, how it came to be, where these pictures came from, why this is important. What's going on here?
Well, when the SPLOST in 2008 passed, we had to do something with the artifacts and the memorabilia that was in this cabin. So Jeff Ratliff at the Shannon Pharmacy was good enough to let us store all of that material over there.
Right.
And in 2010, when they were working on the area down here, and Memorial Day was coming up.
Right.
We had to get ready for Memorial Day services, so the Waters District Foundation was formed. And at the same time, Christy Kent and I was working on this historical timeline display for the cabin.
So this is just great, and I know Memorial Day is a big event out here, and so it's so nice for people to have a place to come and see their history and to remember. Now, these ladies are especially important because you founded a historical council, right?
The Waters District Council for Historical Preservation.
And why is it called Waters District?
Because it encompasses this whole area, not just Shannon. Shannon's just one part. There's communities like Pinson, Berwyn, the old Nanny, which was at the corner of 140 and 53. All these communities from the Oostenaula River over to the Bartow County line are part of the Waters voting district. We all vote in the Waters District.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense. So who can join, Elaine? I know you're the president now. Who can be a member of the Waters District?
Well, right now, we have maybe 100 members, and anyone in the community that's interested in the history of the community, they can join. They just need to contact us.
That's great. All right. Well, let's walk down here a little bit. Jennifer, did you want to say something, add something to?
Well, I was just going to say we had a very successful first meeting in September, and we're having another community meeting.
That's right.
October 11th. It's a Monday night at 6:30, and we'll have Jeff Bishop here, the Georgia president of the Trail of Tears Association, and he's going to talk to us about our Indian houses around here. You don't realize there's so many old houses around here that were once owned by the Cherokees.
Cherokee. Yes, and I think that's what makes this Historical Preservation Council so special and unique, because it does cover so much. This community has such a rich foundation and heritage, and with its Cherokee heritage, and then so much with your mill heritage, the scouting, bauxite mining here. There's a lot to know about Shannon, and these ladies certainly are well versed in everything that's going on out here. And I'm here with the lovely Margaret Flowers, and she has a deep, rich, long history in this community and knows everything there is to know about the mill and growing up in Shannon and what it was like to be a child and an adult. Can you just tell us a little bit about how your family came to be in this part?
Well, there was a Northern Brighton Mills up north, and they moved here, and my grandfather came down as plant manager. And that was T.J. Kelly. And then my dad started out working in the mill, the lowest on the totem pole. I don't know what the job was, but then he worked and finally became personnel director and worked here till he retired. He loved Shannon and he loved the people here, and it was just next to his family. This was just his life. And growing up here, I just think we were the most fortunate kids that ever were. And I think it's the last really time when kids were innocent and people could be kids.
Yeah.
We weren't put on schedules. We rode down the Reservoir Hill in pasteboard boxes and built pine straw, pine straw houses and all that kind of thing. And
just a real community.
it was just, everybody was everybody's family. And it was just...
Yeah, and I would think the sense of having the place where you work and the place where you live so tied together just made for a beautiful lifestyle.
It was wonderful. And we were expected to be everybody's kid. I mean, parents didn't get upset if somebody else corrected their kid. Or if they got sent home for getting a little rowdy or something like that. We were just, everybody just knew everybody, and it's so trite, that take a village thing, but it was great in this area.
Well, you found some pictures. Tell me about this one's really nice, and you say this is the home where you...
This is the house where people will know as where Con Sanders is the last plant manager that lived there, and his daughter and son-in-law are living there now. And that's where they moved to when they came down in 27.
What town were they in up north?
Passaic, New Jersey.
New Jersey, all right. And then...
is where they came from.
Gosh, and what a nice place to come to.
This is on the corner of First Street right up here. And
how long did your family live there?
They lived there until my grandfather died. They lived there from 27 until... I think he died in 35.
Okay.
And then my grandmother built a home, and when it was built, she moved.
It's a beautiful home. And then this is an interesting picture, too, you said you found of a Christmas.
This is a picture of my dad, Edward Kelly, and Wilson Sherman, who was working at the mill at that time, and they are just presenting every employee's child at Christmas time got a bag of goodies and toys and things from the mill.
That's it. How many children do you think?
Oh,
hundreds.
I couldn't begin. You can just imagine they were every employee's child.
That's pretty
special. And that
special.
was a yearly thing.
Such nice memories I know you have of growing up here and being here. Now, where are you now out in the community?
I am living actually 2 houses down from where my grandmother and granddaddy moved to when they came.
So it's all just so special.
It is. And
Well, Shannon's a beautiful place. I'm certainly enjoying all my time out here.
I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather live.
Well, thank you, Margaret.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pictures of the scout
I
cabin.
do too,
This
'cause
is the
that's
second
my old
scout
cabin.
cabin, and the original scout
Yeah.
cabin.
I
And
remember all those.
that was a big part of us growing up.
Yeah.
I told somebody I didn't know I was a lint head till I moved to Atlanta one time, and that's what people call textile
Oh,
people.
yeah.
And but we had such a great
It was wonderful.
area to grow up in, and the plant furnished so much for us.
We were very
That
lucky.
let's see, the youth club, they sponsored the youth club, they sponsored the ball team,
Swimming pool.
the Girl Scouts,
Girl Scouts.
Boy Scouts, and then the ABEI
And you know,
sponsored the
during the
pool.
war, they had their own Red Cross group of ladies, and they had their own state guard.
They sure did, and these are the pictures
And
right here.
I just, I think that's great.
And the first World War II memorial
Yeah.
was here at the Brighton plant. We think that's the first memorial in the nation.
I think it would have been challenged by now if it hadn't been. Somebody would have. The year they won the championship, Johnny Carson and Zeke Bertowski, who both went on to be professional balls. John went with the Washington Redskins and Zeke with the Chicago Bears. And they were my house guests that weekend. We invited them up to present the guys their jackets, so that was kind of a special night. And I loved the cheerleaders. One of the things that I did that year was when I taught was I'd drive the cheerleaders back and forth to some of the games, and that was fun.
That was the championship year too.
Yes, yes.
Well, here we are with Jack Dickey, ex-county commissioner, past county commissioner, and long-standing citizen of Shannon and a Shannon historian. And Mr. Dickey, I believe that are you the head of the new historic association out here?
Well, I guess you could say I was sort of the incorporator of it and got it started, but I made sure that we got somebody to make a good president.
Yeah.
So Elaine Robbins was elected president of our organization. She's the first president.
Okay.
We had a board of incorporators to start off with, got our incorporated with the state and everything. But
Okay. Well,
I do stay pretty busy with it.
one thing I wanted to ask you about is this right here. Now this looks an awful lot like the wheel out at Barry, but I understand that there's a story behind that. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Not at all. This wheel right here, this picture you're looking at here, as it says there before Barry, this wheel was put up out at Hermitage, and it was running a sawmill there for one thing. And they probably, in the days that they had these, they could use them as a power source for just about anything. This was before electricity and all. So this is billed now by Barry as being the largest old shot water wheel in the world. And these things has a tremendous amount of power. You take 42 feet up in the air, and when these cups get full of water and they're going down, that creates a lot of torque. And you'll see the little gear teeth here on the sides here. So they were spinning the jack shaft down there going into that building there with that thing. So there was a feller by the name of Kenny Brew that owned and operated this mill. He was a blind man. I understand they called him Blind Tom. And so this mill had to be put in pretty soon after the Indians left here. And because Mr. Kenny Brew died in 1917. And they said that the mill was never used after that. And even in this picture, you can see that it's fallen into some despair, looks like. And so Mr. Tom Waters, who was, a lot of us know Thad Rush, that was Thad's grandfather, and he'd been working for the Alcoa Aluminum Company, which had come out of Hermitage. That's where Alcoa started, you know. And this big old mill wheel's out there, and Martha Berry kept wanting it. And so he was finally able to, I think the company, the Alcoa company, had bought this piece of land the mill was on, but Mr. Waters was able to contact them, and so this wheel was given to Martha Berry, and Martha Berry took it. No doubt the timbers were fairly rotten and all, but you had all the hardware. It was taken out to Berry School, and the students rebuilt it out there, and that's the mill you see at Berry School today. So there's a lot of history behind that mill.
No kidding, and I never knew that. It looks like it's always been at Berry. So a couple of things. Obviously, Hermitage is in Shannon, and Hermitage Shannon was the birthplace of Alcoa. Is that right?
No, it's you're a little bit opposite there. There was Hermitage before Shannon.
Okay.
And Hermitage was named Hermitage when Colonel Joseph Waters was one of the first settlers to come in here after the Indians left. This was considered Indian territory here. The state of Georgia didn't settle all this up in northwest Georgia here until after 1836, after the Indians left. And so this was all put up for lottery. You could get a lottery on 160 acres of land for $8, I understand. But Colonel Waters, being having served under Jackson, and President Jackson had been an Indian fighter and all, and so they got together, had a lot to do about getting the Indians out of here, which was one of the worst things that we ever did, I think. But anyway, Waters ended up with pretty well all this land through here, which was then called Ridge Valley, named after Major Ridge, the chief here. And so when he got here, one of the first things they did, they started mining iron, and it was called the Ridge Valley Iron Works. After they found the aluminum, or found the bauxite here, they later changed the name to Republic Mining Company, and then later into Alcoa.
Here with Marilyn Fritz Gould and her supporting, adoring friends. And Marilyn has led a very interesting life and continues to do so, and is a pilot. So Marilyn, tell us when you first started flying and what was going on in the world when...
Well, I'll start when we first came to Shannon in 1938. Lived on the end of 3rd Street. And later on we moved to 1st Street. And Dad decided that he wanted to buy some land at the north end of the village to build a house. Well, about that time I was a senior in high school, working in the mill, and bought a Piper Cub. I've always loved flying. And so Dad built the house, and there was room out there for an airstrip. And I soloed and had my airplane out there. And later on, Dad started flying. Then my 3 brothers started flying. We all had airplanes. We had our own squadron. Started flying during the war, toward the end of the war. Elbert Hamilton, James Gould, and we all started about the same time. We would catch the Higgins taxi down here in front of the apartment store, our department store, and go to Rome for 25 cents, get off in front of churches, and catch the West Rome bus, go out to the airport. We'd ride it to the end of the line and walk the rest of the way, which was about 2 miles on dirt road. And we all soloed off the old West Rome airport. And James, I later married him. He had a great career, test pilot, military, and jets and everything. But he passed away a few years ago. He has his real wings now. But we have fun flying, and we started flying out here at the end of the village. And on Sunday afternoon, flight instructor would come from old West Rome Airport, an old rail engine airplane, 4 passengers. And James and I, we would sell tickets, $2 a piece. Cars would be lined up on that road out there, and we would sell tickets until time for church. Then we'd cut off our flying, we'd go to church. Back then, people would go to church on Sunday evenings. And so at the end of the day, though, the instructor would always give us a free flight around the field, and we loved that. But when we soloed at the old West Rome Airport, we'd take off. When I soloed, I took off flying east, and you could look down at the Batty machine, not Batty, but the Batty Hospital. Back then, there were German war prisoners there. You could see those Germans out in the yard. And I always thought, Lord, don't let my engine quit now. I'd be down there with them. But that wasn't really too bad, because the trustees, you'd see those Germans walking Broad Street. And I heard that some of the Rome girls dated them. I felt they were good looking. But we all had fun flying. And the day James and I were married, he always still did tell people, he married me from an airplane, and I sold it the morning of the day we were married. That was
I'm doing good. Hey, tell us, how did the community of Shannon get the name Shannon?
Well, it's a little bit of a long story. I found it out a few years ago. I had a classmate that lives in New Jersey, and she was talking to me one day, and she says, does anybody know how Shannon got its name? And I said, well, I don't know. Maybe it came from Shannon, Ireland or something. And I thought maybe Mr. Powell would know, and so I talked with him, Roy Powell. And Roy didn't know, and he just went to work on it. That's when he started all his research. So I have to credit Roy for finding out.
Okay.
But what happened was that right after the Indians left here, and they had this land up for a lottery and all, Colonel Joseph Waters was one of the first people in here, and he got a tremendous amount of land here in this, what was formerly called Ridge Valley,
Yes.
Chief Ridge. And so he immediately named it Hermitage, and that's where Hermitage got its name, was that President Jackson, Colonel Waters had been under Jackson, and Jackson, you know, has the Hermitage in Tennessee. So he thought a lot of Jackson, as I understand. I guess because Jackson got him all his land here or something, and so he named this area here Hermitage. And then later we got calling the little community over here Hermitage, a little bit more specific. But anyway, when along about the time, I think, of the Civil War, our biggest product that we exported out of Floyd County here was lumber.
Okay.
And they were cutting timber here and all. And so there was a man up north of here somewhere by the name of Shannon. And so Mr. Waters sold him 1,000 acres, which started over here at the base of Armstrong Mountain and came through here and went to Woodruff Creek, right through here where we are right now.
Okay.
And so Mr. Shannon moved in here and set up a sawmill to cut all this timber. And the railroad was coming through here then, and so we got a siding. And I guess they started calling that siding Shannon. Eventually got a depot here. And so that's how Shannon got his name, and how Hermitage got its name.
There you have it, folks. I don't know about you, but I was very surprised at some of the things I've learned just in the week that we've been out here. At the Alcoa, the first bauxite mine, model school, the Berry water wheel, all these wonderful things that emanated out of Shannon, Georgia, right in our own backyard. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on GOV 101.